All right, I want to admit something right off the bat. I watched this movie a long time ago. Like a long time ago. And I wasn't really allowed to talk about it back then. But yeah, so anyway, I really wish I would have reviewed it back then because it's been a good long while since I've seen it. But this is Possessor. Now, it is in theaters, like limitedly, and it's uncut in theaters, and so that's pretty cool. So if you can catch it, I definitely recommend it. I think it's a really cool flick. But yeah, so this is by David Cronenberg's son. This is, I think, his directorial debut, right? And this kind of plays with body horror for sure. It kind of has almost a Inception-like storyline to it, and we've got our main character here, and she works for this, company or corporation or unit or whatever you want to call it, and she goes into the minds of certain people, and she takes possession of them. She possesses their body, and she can go in there and make them do whatever the hell she wants and then get out of there. And of course, they won't be blamed for it because that person did it, right? You can pretty much guess where that's heading. But while she's in there, it kind of starts to meld with her mind. And not only is this fucking up her own physical body, but it's also ruining her at-home life as well. So it's taking a toll on her in pretty much every way. Now, this also has Jennifer Jason Leigh in it, who was in Cronenberg's Existence, which is kind of a little cool, tie-in to his father there. And the fact that this is body horror. Now, I looked at this thinking, okay, so Cronenberg is famous for his body horror. Like, here's his son coming to do body horror. Is it just like him ripping off his dad? Or, I mean, I definitely think that he's trying to follow in his father's footsteps, which isn't a bad thing. I'm a hairdresser just like my father. I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think that this film separates itself enough that I like it, but I will say that it definitely feels Cronenberg-esque. Now, that's up for you to decide whether or not, like, you like that. You like that his son is kind of mirroring him in some ways, but to me that's almost flattering, and it's a good flick. So I don't mind that at all. I just could see other people saying like, "Oh, what is he trying to be daddy?" That's not. Yeah, I just don't see that as a bad thing. I think, as I said, I think this offers enough unique into it, and that's one thing too. Like, this movie has some pretty trippy visuals in it, and the performances are all really damn good, and it's a really good looking movie as well. I wouldn't say it's like pretty, because it's definitely not. It has kind of a paler aesthetic to it for my memory, but I would love to rewatch this, and I can't wait for it to cut like a Blu-ray release, because I want to see this in full HD. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely something worth checking out if you're like a Cronenberg body horror fan. This is definitely a good, I don't want to say Cronenberg ripoff, but Cronenberg-esque kind of film. It's very Cronenberg-like, which of course makes sense seeing as who made it. But yeah, I was really pleased with this one. I was real high on it when I watched it, back when I watched it, and I hope that this gets a VOD release soon. To my knowledge, it's not on VOD. I just heard people saying that they had to go to the theater to see it, and that it was being released uncut. Now, I don't know if I saw the uncut version or not, but what I did see had some pretty graphic gore and some good amount of sexuality in it as well. So we'll definitely see. But yeah, I mean, I dug the shit out of it, and I look forward to seeing when it releases how people take to it, especially Cronenberg fans. That's who I'm going to be looking for the most. Now, I like Cronenberg. I don't know his work super well, but I know it well enough to say that this definitely feels a good amount like it. Now, whether or not the Cronenberg fans will accept that his son is doing something like him, I will be curious on that. But for me, I'm fine with it as long as it's a good movie, which this sure as shit is. Definitely one of the better horror, sci-fi, body horror. Definitely one of the better body horror movies in a long fucking time. And the story is unique. The performances are cool. I mean, she takes control of like this one dude's body, and that's to me, that's just terrifying. Like, not being in control of your body, and you know, your body going out there and committing these horrendous acts and taking advantage of people that you love and doing these things that you could never recover from. Like, what are you going to tell people? Like, somebody took possession of my body? Like, that's just terrifying, and it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. But it doesn't just play with that. As I said, it also plays with what it starts to do to her mind and to her body, and it's cool shit, man. It's really cool shit. It's got a unique enough storyline, and I dug it. So let me know when you guys watch it, if you can, anytime soon. And I'll look to see if it's on VOD, but I don't think it is. I'm like pretty sure it isn't, which is a shame. But they need to drop it quick. But if it's in a theater by you and you feel comfortable enough and you're like, oh, should I not? You should. So let me know if you do. Adios.